up, you guys? It is Madison, and today I'm going to be doing the first Q&A of 2016. Technically, it's the second Q&A I filmed because I already filmed this video. But I just didn't like the footage. So, here I am again, filming it again. And I'm actually, watching my own video to make sure I get the same questions. And also, if you guys have any other questions, other better questions, I'll just go ahead and hit those. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. The first question is, what is the funniest movie you've ever seen? And okay, hear me out. The funniest movie I personally have ever seen is called Without a Paddle. It's my favorite movie of all time. But I have a very close second, and it's called Daddy's Home. It's still in the movie theaters. If you guys have not seen it, go watch it. It's so good, and it is hilarious. New Year's Day, I went to see this movie with Casey and her mom and her brother. And it was just, I think it was so funny because, the atmosphere and me being with Casey, everything's funny when I'm with Casey, obviously. But, hold on. First of all, if you don't want any spoilers, if you just want to see this movie, pause this video, skip ahead. You don't want to hear this part. But, if you don't care or anything, I'm just going to tell you this. So basically, the whole movie is about Will Ferrell, and he's like the stepdad, and the real dad comes, and they're competing to get their child's love, whatever. Basically, at the end of the movie, they become friends and whatever. So, Mark Wahlberg, which is the stepdad, or no, the real dad, his name is Dusty, if you're wondering, in the movie. At the end of the movie, he gets his own wife, and his wife actually has a child, so that would be, he's the stepdad now. So, the real dad of Mark Wahlberg's stepchild comes in on this motorcycle, and he has the muscles of a god, right? He took this helmet off, and it was John Cena. John freaking Cena. You guys know that I like John Cena, but that's not the funny part. The great part is Casey is obsessed with John Cena, and if you know Casey personally, you probably already know that. But, I mean, I'm talking about obsessed. She has a 6-foot, life-size John Cena in her room. Picture of John Cena everywhere. She went to see him. I was there too, but we both went to see him, and, she's a little bit more obsessed than I am, let's be real. She has all of his DVDs, that kind of stuff. She's obsessed. So when she saw John Cena, so for some reason, honestly, I didn't know that he was going to be in there. Casey didn't either, so it just really surprised us when he took his helmet off and it was John Cena. So I was trying to stand up and jump up and down and scream at this screen. Well, let me tell you something, there was a lot of people in this theater as well. Who cares? So I was in the middle of standing up, and Casey, when she saw John Cena, her first instinct, when you're with your girlfriend and you see something, you're like, oh my gosh, and you hit them. This was her. This is what she did. So as I was standing up, I'm standing like this, and Casey's hand flies back and almost knocks me out. So long story short, I didn't get to stand up and jump up and down, but we were yelling and screaming, and her mom was laughing at us. Casey made this awful noise. Good times. Anyway, so yeah, that is a very close second to the funniest movie I've ever seen. Honestly, I think it kind of does take the cake for the funniest movie, just for the atmosphere and stuff, but Without a Paddle is always going to be my favorite movie. But yeah, if you have not seen Daddy's Home, please go see it. You will not regret it. The next question is, what is on the top of your bucket list? And honestly, if you know me, you know what's coming. It used to be... No, honestly, no. I was going to say it used to be going to Paris and looking at the Eiffel Tower, but that has never been my number one, thing on my bucket list. My number one thing, if I could go tomorrow, I would go, would be cage diving with sharks. I'm sure you think I'm lying, but I'm actually very serious. I've always wanted to do that. I don't know why. Since I was a kid, a shark has always been my favorite animal. I've always wanted to go cage diving with sharks. I don't really know why, but I would love to go with someone. But let me tell you something, Casey is out. She's like, no, I hope you don't die and everything, but I'm not going with you. So I'm just like, okay, that's fun. Alright, cool. She also would not go on a helicopter with me, so whatever. But yeah, definitely cage diving with sharks. I've always wanted to do that as long as I can remember. I wanted to see a 20-foot shark with my own eyes. The next couple questions are actually about sporting kind of things, so if you don't like that kind of stuff, skip on ahead, girl, because I personally love talking about sports. If you know me personally, you know that I just talk about it all the time, and I apologize for that because I know you don't care, but I do. Alright, so the next question is, when did you start watching WWE and UFC? And I started watching WWE first, before UFC. So I started watching, okay, first of all, let me tell you the story. Casey has always been a fan of John Cena, going back to what I said earlier. She's always been a fan of John Cena for as long as I can remember. My cousin's, I don't really know what to call her, my cousin's friend, she lived with my cousin for a few years, probably not a few years, like a year or so, and she was obsessed with John Cena. So I think that really got Casey obsessed. So for as long as I can remember, Casey was just obsessed with John Cena. But we never watched it on TV. We just, I don't know what, we knew what he did. We knew he was a wrestler, but we didn't know he was on every week. I don't know. So we, yeah, that was basically it. She was just always obsessed with him. And I remember one time I saw on Facebook from John Cena, and he was like, this Monday night. And I was like, oh my gosh, Casey. And I like called her, and I was like, we have to watch it this Monday. He's going to be on TV. But he had already been on TV for a long time. But I didn't know that. So I called her up, and I was like, yo girl, we got to watch this. Your man's going to be on. So we did. We watched it, and it just clicked. I don't know. We just, and I think that was around 2008 or 2009, I want to say. I don't really know. So 7, 8 years ago. But yeah, that's the first time. And I remember Michael Cole, if you guys don't know who that is, he's a commentator or whatever. He was like, oh, next Monday. And I was like, they do this every Monday? I was really dumb. But from then on, we watched it every single Monday. And honestly, I will put money on it. I have probably only missed maybe 1 or 2 Monday Night Raws. I've missed a bunch of SmackDowns because I don't really like SmackDown, but I've not missed a lot of Monday Night Raws. But I will be missing it tomorrow. You will probably see this video on Thursday. I don't really know when you're going to see this video. But Monday the 11th. Monday the 11th, I will be missing it. I am going to watch the first 30 minutes, but then my football game comes on, so it's just a big old mess. So, basically to answer your question, I started watching WWE probably 2008, 2009 with Casey, and then it just stuck, and then we always watched it together. And here we are today, still watching it every single Monday. Casey's still obsessed with John Cena. I have, you know, we all have John Cena shirts, John Cena everything. We love WWE, the company. We love it. And then about UFC, I started watching UFC. It wasn't too long ago. I think the first memory of UFC I have is one time. My aunt has always watched UFC, whatever. So I remember one time I came in, and this man, he had like braids, like cornrows in his hair, and he had blood all over him. And I was like, what is he doing with his life, you know? But come to think of it, come to know that that was actually Uriah Faber. And then at that moment, I knew he was my favorite. To this day, he's still one of my favorites. He fought a couple weeks ago, a month ago or so. He won. I was there for it. He had them cornrows in, baby. I was so excited. Casey actually was here to see that fight, and I think that's the first UFC fight she ever watched with me. Yeah, but she was like, why do you care about his hair? And I was like, because it's memories. Because for a couple fights, he didn't do that because he cut his hair. And right after that fight, the next week, he went and he cut his hair again. So, but when I really started watching UFC was I think it was Ronda Rousey's second fight with Miesha Tate. I didn't see the first one. That was in Strikeforce. I didn't see all that. But I did see the second one, which was in the UFC. That was the first UFC, like, women's fight or whatever. And I remember I came home from Casey's house. By the way, if you don't know who Casey is, she's my cousin. She's great. So I came home from Casey's house, and my aunt, like I told you guys, she's always watched UFC, or fighting, whatever. She's always, like, any kind of fighting. And she was like, oh my gosh, these two girls are about to fight. And I'm just like, okay, you know. That was when, that was right after Dana White had said there would never be any girls in the UFC, whatever. So, but I didn't know that yet, so whatever. She was like, yeah, you know, this girl she's crazy and she's so tough, you know, whatever. And I was like, okay. So I went and put my stuff in my room, and I was like, alright, let's go see what she's talking about, right? So I saw this fight. I saw her get her in the armbar, and I was like, what? But, after that, well, before that fight, I didn't know any history of Ronda Rousey, any history of even Misha Tate, so I didn't know their history together or anything, so I didn't really care about the fight. I just saw it. But then after that, it really impressed me, and it really made me want to watch UFC. So I did my research, and saw that they had actually had a fight before that and all that stuff. So yeah, here I am today. I've watched plenty of UFC stuff. I know a lot about UFC, I think, and I love it. So another question that I've actually got 2 times now, because the first time I thought it was a joke, like I thought they were just kidding, which is kind of rude, I guess, but sorry. The next question is, if you go to like a UFC live event or anything, is it scary? And you know, I don't think I've ever thought this. Maybe it's a common thought, but I can tell you this: when I saw Uriah Faber Not Blood, I was like, who wants to see that? But I've never been to like a UFC event, but I've been to MMA events and that kind of thing, and I don't think it's scary. I mean, it's fun, you know. People go there to see people beat each other up. I don't think it's scary. I took Casey one time, more than one time. No, I took Casey one time, and then one time we had tickets to go somewhere else. It's a long story. Anyways, me and Casey have been, Casey's been like 2 times, but I've been to 4 or 5 events, and yeah, it's not scary at all. You know, it's really fun. It's really, I don't know, get your blood pumping, you know, if you're into that kind of stuff. Obviously, if you don't like fighting or anything, you're not going to care. The next question that I got is, how long will I be doing YouTube? And honestly, I will be doing YouTube as long as it's fun. And the reason I say that is because if I ever feel like I just have to like carry myself just to make a video, or if it's just not fun anymore, that's when I'll stop, and that's when I will not make videos anymore. But for now, it is definitely fun, and yeah, it's just an outlet that I can talk to you guys and make new friends. So like I said, as long as it's fun, I will be here. That was the last question. If you guys want to send me questions, you can send it to me on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, AskFM, anything you want to send it to me on, any way you can get a hold of me. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video.